When it comes to the prediction of the Rangers rotation, here's what MLB.com/TexasRangers.com has. Opening day starter, they believe, will be Kyle Gibson for the Texas Rangers.
Okay.
Yes. The second pitcher will be Dane Dunning. He is one of the White Sox top prospects. That was the main piece you got for Lance Lynn. So if you're wondering who's Dane Dunning, he was the main piece in the Lance Lynn trade. Then you have number 3 starting pitcher. This is a reclamation project, Mike Fultonwitz, who you just signed as a free agent who the Braves released after having a tough year last year. Then you have the foreign pitcher, Kohia Arhara, and I don't know if I'm saying that right. Probably saying it wrong, but he will be your number 4 starting pitcher. And right now they have slated as your number 5 starting pitcher, Colby Allard, who had a really tough short season last year. Hopefully he can bounce back. He is the guy that you got from the Atlanta Braves.
And that's
in a trade.
That's the only guy in the last group of prospects then. Because, I know they made more deals.
Let's talk about the guy who they say is not going to start in the rotation to start the year, and this goes to Major League Baseball and the problems that teams think they're going to have. Kyle Cody might be the Rangers' best starting pitching prospect. Now, he's older. I believe he's 26 years old, so it's not like he's 21 or 22. He's been around for a while, but he had a really nice last 2 or 3 weeks of the season with the Texas Rangers last year. Really tall guy. He's like 6'6", 6'7". Good movement on his fastball, throws the ball hard. I could see him developing into a nice pitcher, but he's not young, but he's considered a prospect because he just broke into the major leagues last year at 26 years old. So at some point, he's going to be 27 this year. So he's a prospect because he hasn't pitched in the major leagues. That being said, now here goes to the major problem teams are thinking they're going to have. Last year, with only a 2-month season, and some teams made the playoffs, some teams didn't, nobody pitched 100 innings last year.
Yeah.
Not one pitcher was able to even get to 100 innings. Now, most people will say that you only want to add 20% more innings the next year. Now, that's usually off of an injury. So if you had an injury and you pitched 50 innings and you're able to come back the next year, they're kind of like, hey, after about 60 innings, we're pushing it a little bit because we want to build up and we don't want to give this guy 150 innings this year because we expect the probability of an injury happening again is more likely by putting that much more pressure on an arm after a year of not throwing the baseball a whole bunch. Well, everybody has that in Major League Baseball. Not one pitcher is going to obviously have thrown 150 or 200 innings last year. They're all going to be approximately throwing 40 to 80 innings last year. And now this year they're going to be asked to throw approximately 150 or more innings if you're a starting pitcher who doesn't get hurt during the season. Well, a lot of general managers and a lot of people covering baseball said, here's the deal. A person like Kyle Cody isn't in the starting rotation to start the year because they really have to watch his innings. And he is a Rangers prospect, so he has gotten hurt in his career. So they are just saying that most likely most teams are going to have more than 10 starting pitchers this year because you're going to have to watch the innings on guys. You're going to have more injuries. Even though there's a lot of pitching injuries during a season, you're probably, especially with your starting rotation, going to have even more injuries this year just based on guys' arm strengths are not going to be that great after only playing a 2-month season last year. So it does list Taylor Hearn as a possible left-hander as the 7th guy in the rotation. And so I do think this is not an impressive, I'm being honest here, this is not an impressive starting 5-man rotation. But if you're like, dang it, where are all the young guys? Because there's only Dunning and Allard are considered the young guys in the rotation right now. And you have a reclamation project, you have an older guy in Kyle Gibson, and then you have, and I'm sorry, I'm forgetting, I'd have to click on his name if he is Korean or Japanese in Ahara. Off the top of my head, I forget where we got him from, but it's from obviously either Korea or from Japan. But guys like Kyle Cody, Taylor Hearn, some other young guys will be getting starts this year just based off of guys are going to have arm issues. And the other thing too is I wonder this, how long do you give Mike Fultonwitz? What if he puts up what he was doing in Atlanta, was putting up a 7 to a 10 ERA, and they're like, we have to release you. We're trying to win a championship. Like we can't we can't just have you go out there and give up 6 runs in 2 innings and us be okay. We have to win these games. The Rangers don't have that pressure.
Yeah.
The Rangers are not trying to make the playoffs this year. This is a rebuilding year where they're going to see who can do what to hopefully build a team in the future that can compete in Major League Baseball. So I just want to ask you guys, I wonder how long they're going to give a person like Foltowitz to fail and just say, here's the ball again, or will they just say, look, we're just going to release you and go with a younger guy and see if he can pitch in the major leagues?
I think from the past, you've seen that they might give him half the season. Like, I think we've seen that in the past.
That's interesting, Mike, because you're trying to get value out of everybody, right? So, do they have a younger pitcher who could potentially look valuable to somebody that they need to get up there quicker, right? Not necessarily for this team, but for another team, for a trade, because that's what we do. We trade away everything that could possibly be good. And so I'm just kind of curious, like, when there's nobody there. There's nobody underneath to try and highlight at the moment. So why wouldn't you give him the whole season? Like, if you're really not trying to win and you're just trying to eat up innings and get through the year so you can get to whenever, then, I mean, just let him go the whole season. Unless it's like 13-0 every night, and then you're just like, come on, man.
Yeah. I think they give him 2 months, my opinion. I think they give him 2 months to show that he can put up and I'm not making the ERA, like, great, that he can put up an ERA under 5.5.
Yikes.
I think after April and May, if his ERA is close to 6 or above 6, I think they'll say, hey, we tried our, magic potion to get you back to where you were. Because he was an all-star in 2018. So there is ability there. But I think you give it like 2 months, and after 2 months. But, Corey, you have a point. I mean, it might be we don't care. We think we're going to make him a good pitcher, and we're just going to keep giving him the ball every 5th day. And if he gives up a lot of runs, we'll put him on the phantom DL or the phantom injured list. We don't call it DL anymore, which a player has to agree to. And, we'll go pitch him in Frisco for 2 or 3 starts, pretending he has a fake injury, and then, maybe bring him back if we feel like we figured some things out. So I don't know if he has that good of a reputation. I don't know if the Rangers think of him as like, man, if we get him right, he's an all-star again. But this rotation's going to be interesting. And I mean, the hope is at the end of this year that you have 2 or 3 guys that you feel can go into 2022 that can really pitch.